The power of privacy. 3 secrets smart people. Never share. The power of boundaries. 3 things you must keep private. There's something deeply human about our need to connect. We're wired for it, emotionally, spiritually, even biologically. We crave closeness. We long to be seen, to be understood, to be accepted. From the moment we're born, we seek out faces, voices, and arms that feel safe. Connection is not just a want, it's a core need. But in our eagerness to bond, to be known, and to feel significant in the eyes of others, we often miss a crucial truth. Real connection isn't forged in endless exposure. It's built through intentional boundaries. In a culture that celebrates openness, oversharing, and constant visibility, privacy can feel like a rebellion. We're encouraged to tell all, to post everything, to lay our lives bare for likes, validation, or the illusion of closeness. But here's the reality. Not everything sacred should be seen. Not everything meaningful should be explained. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough credit in our hyper-connected world. The quiet, powerful act of keeping certain things to yourself. Not out of secrecy, not out of shame, but out of wisdom. Out of self-respect, because when you protect what's private, you're not hiding, you're honoring. You're saying, this is important enough to guard. Wise people know this instinctively. They understand that privacy is a form of power, that some truths become stronger when held close, that some parts of your life, your pain, your dreams, your love, deserve to be nurtured in silence, free from scrutiny, judgment, and interference. In a world that tells you to expose everything, choosing to protect what matters is an act of strength. It's a radical kind of self-trust. And it's essential for real growth, peace, and emotional freedom. So here's the question. What should you keep private at any cost? Let's dive into the 3 things that the wisest among us never put on display too soon. Your deepest struggles while you're still healing. Life has a way of breaking us. Loss, failure, heartbreak, trauma. These are the unavoidable parts of our human journey. In those moments when the weight of the world feels like it's pressing down on you, it's natural to want to talk about your pain. You want someone to hear you, to acknowledge the depth of your struggle, to validate what you're going through. But here's the truth. Not all wounds should be shared too soon. When you're in the thick of your pain, it can feel like you need to let it out, to open up to the world about your hurt. But there's a real danger in exposing your vulnerabilities before they've had a chance to heal. In fact, doing so can do more harm than good. When you share your wounds too early, before they've had time to close, you open yourself up to risks that can slow down your recovery or even make things worse. Not everyone knows how to be there for you. Some might offer advice that feels more like judgment. Others may minimize your pain, offering solutions that feel shallow, trite, or completely irrelevant to what you're going through. Sometimes people will suggest things that actually make you feel worse about your situation, not better. Their intentions may be good, but their words may be a poor substitute for the real support you need. Sadly, there are people who thrive on drama. There's a darker side to human nature that feeds off of gossip, negativity, and the struggles of others. When you're vulnerable, some people will latch on to your pain like a parasite, using your situation for their own entertainment or to fuel their own sense of superiority. Your suffering becomes their source of fascination, something to talk about at the next social gathering, something to exploit to get attention or sympathy for themselves. It's a deep betrayal of the trust you've given them with your vulnerability, and it only deepens your wounds. Revisiting your pain over and over again, especially with people who can't help you heal, can trap you in a loop. You talk about it, rehash it, revisit it, and yet nothing changes. In fact, the more you speak about your struggles to the wrong audience, the more it can feel like you're stuck in your pain. Instead of moving forward, you become bogged down in the past. What was meant to be a process of healing becomes a cycle of reliving, one that keeps you tethered to the hurt rather than releasing it. What wise people do instead? Wise people understand that healing isn't a public event, it's a private journey. They don't rush to tell the world about their pain, especially when it's still raw and bleeding. Instead, they process their emotions in safe, controlled environments. Maybe they speak to a therapist, someone trained to listen and help guide them through their pain. Maybe they turn to a trusted friend, someone who has earned the right to hold their heart and listen without judgment. Or maybe they find solitude, away from the noise, away from the expectations of others, and take time to sit with their feelings and let them pass in their own time. They know that healing is personal, and they're careful about who they let into that sacred space. They wait. They allow themselves the time and space to recover. They don't feel pressured to make their pain known to the world before they've learned from it. They let the lesson sink in and allow their emotional wounds to scab over before they share the story. Only then, when they've gathered strength from the experience and no longer feel emotionally raw, do they open up and share, not from a place of desperation, but from a place of wisdom. A wound doesn't heal faster just because the world sees it. In fact, the more we expose our scars before they're ready, the more likely we are to keep reopening them. It's tempting to share our stories for validation or sympathy, but real healing comes when we allow ourselves the space to recover. First, let yourself heal before telling the story. Only then can you share your experience in a way that brings growth, not more pain. Your biggest goals until they're accomplished. It's tempting to talk about your goals, to tell the world what you're working on, to declare your ambitions out loud. We often believe that by sharing them, we're holding ourselves accountable, lighting a fire under our own feet. But here's the truth. Speaking too soon can sabotage your progress. Research and wisdom both suggest something counterintuitive. When you tell people your goals too early, your brain receives a premature reward. Just by voicing the intention, you trick your mind into feeling like you've already made progress, even if you haven't taken a single real step. Here's why putting your dreams on display too soon can work against you. Doubt seeps in. When you share your vision too early, you invite opinions, often from people who can't see what you see. Their doubts can plant seeds of hesitation in your mind. They'll project their fears, their limitations, their past failures onto your future. And if you're not rooted in your purpose, their uncertainty can make you question your own path. Momentum fades. Talking feels like doing. You get the satisfaction of attention, the applause, the recognition, but none of it translates to actual progress. That illusion of productivity can delay the real work. You talk more than you build, you plan more than you act, and slowly, your goal becomes just another good idea that never lived long enough to breathe. Pressure replaces passion. The moment you go public with a goal, it stops being just yours. Suddenly, it belongs to everyone watching. You might feel the need to succeed just to prove something, or worse, to avoid embarrassment. That quiet internal drive gets drowned out by external expectations. You're no longer chasing the dream. You're performing it. What wise people do instead, they move in silence. They protect their dreams like a seed in soil, hidden from the harsh elements until it's strong enough to break through. They speak only to those who can support the journey, mentors, partners, people who believe without judgment. They understand that goals need incubation, not exposure. Time, focus, and solitude are the fuel. They aren't interested in applause before the work is done. They aren't motivated by being seen. They're driven by becoming. Let your ambition grow in the dark. Nurture it, refine it, work quietly, and when it's ready, when it's real and undeniable, let your results speak for you. Let success be the one that breaks the silence. Your personal life and relationships. Keep the sacred sacred. We live in an age of constant exposure. Every moment is a photo op. Every meal is content. Every relationship becomes a performance. But here's something most people forget. Just because something is beautiful doesn't mean it belongs to the public. Your personal life, your relationships, your home, your family, your love deserves protection. Not because you're hiding something, but because some things lose their meaning when they're constantly put on display. Oversharing what's sacred comes with quiet consequences. Unwanted interference. The more you share, the more people feel entitled to weigh in. Friends, family, even strangers begin to offer their opinions, advice, or judgment, and suddenly, what was once between two people becomes a conversation involving dozens or thousands. The purity of the bond gets diluted by noise that was never invited in. Weakened intimacy, love, trust, connection, they don't thrive in the spotlight. They grow in private spaces, in late-night conversations, in shared silence, in quiet understanding. When every moment is filtered and posted, intimacy becomes a performance. You start to curate your connection, not cultivate it. Performative affection social media has blurred the line between genuine love and the appearance of love. Relationships become measured by likes, comments, and curated captions. But the strongest bonds don't need public validation. In fact, the most authentic relationships often look invisible from the outside because the focus is on being, not displaying. What wise people do instead? They move differently. They understand that privacy isn't about secrecy, it's about self-respect. It's about knowing that some parts of life are too valuable, too fragile, too sacred to expose to the world's constant commentary. They share their hearts with people who've earned a front-row seat, not with an audience that came for the pachapat show. They build their relationships on truth, not performance. They celebrate in private, argue in private, grow in private. They know this: anything constantly exposed is constantly vulnerable. And the things you care about most deserve to be protected, not picked apart. The strength in privacy in today's culture, there's pressure to be completely open, to bear it all, to be real online, to keep nothing hidden. But true strength isn't found in exposure, it's found in discretion. Real openness isn't about dumping every detail of your life into the world. It's about discernment, the wisdom to know what's sacred, what's safe to share, and what must be protected. At all costs. Sometimes strength looks like silence. Sometimes courage means saying, "This is mine," and the world doesn't get to have it. So keep your healing close. Keep your dreams guarded. Keep your love sacred. Not from fear, but from wisdom. Because not every part of your life is meant for consumption. Some things become more beautiful when they're kept just for you. The truth is, some of the most powerful things in life happen quietly, in the conversations no one hears, in the growth no one sees, in the love that needs no validation, and in the life you're building without telling everyone about it. That is the true power of keeping things private.